Hello everyone, it's Professor Sadiq Noor, and today I'm gonna show you how to use formulas, functions, and formatting. So the objective of this video is to show you how to use the flash fill, how to enter formulas using the keyboard, how to enter formula using the point mode, how to apply max, minimum, and average function in Excel, how to verify the formula being using the range finder, how to apply theme to the workbook, how to add conditional formatting to the cell, how to change the column width and row height, how to check the spelling on a worksheet. So let's start, guys. So I will launch Excel. I will go with always the blank. Now, as you know that this area here is your tab, this area here is your ribbon, and then this area here is your formula bar name box. The worksheet consists of columns and row. The whole file is known as, in Excel, we call it book spreadsheet. So the book, which as you see here, the file is not been named. So that's why is book one, right? And then every book in Excel has only one worksheet. The worksheet is the one that consists of columns and rows, right? So the columns are represented by alphabet, the rows are represented by numbers, all right? So let's start creating this lecture regarding formulas, functions, and uh, formulas, function, and formatting. So the first thing we need to do, we have to enter the title of this worksheet. So I will zoom it. So in A1, we're gonna type Calibor space engineering. Press the enter key. In A2, salary report. Now we need to enter the column titles. In A3, we have to say employee. Then we have to go to the right-hand side like B3. We can use the arrows, the four arrows in our keyboard, the right arrow, or you can tap it. Email address, tap it. In C3, we're gonna say dependent, tap it. And then we're gonna say in D3, hours. Now we wanna have it to be as underneath the hours, the next thing I need to type, right? So what we need to do is while you typed hours, then you need to hold the Alt key. At the same time, you have to press the Enter key. As you see, my cursor move underneath the edge, and then I will type worked, right? So I want to wrap my text actually. Next in E3, we're gonna say hourly. Then again, you have to hold the Alt key and Enter key at the same time. And then we have to type pay rate. Next in F3, we will go with gross. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating my column title. And then federal tax. Then we have state tax in H3. Then we have tax percentage in I3. In J3, I will say net space pay, tap it. In K, we're gonna do higher date. All right, press the enter key. Now we have to enter the salary data for the first employee. So the first employee is Altor, comma, Benny. Then we have to tap it. Dependent in C4. So we will leave the email address for Altor Benny right now empty. Then we're gonna go back and add it. So the dependent is 3. The hour work is 740.50. The 0 will be cut off, so that's normal. The next, we're gonna say in E4, we're gonna type 35.25. Then we will tap it until we go to the higher day, because the gross pay, federal tax, state tax percent, net pay, we have to use a formula for that. So we're gonna type 9/5/10. You don't need to say 2010. Just put the last two digit of the year. Automatically Excel is gonna convert it to 2010. Now we have to go back and fill up the rest of the employees. So we're gonna say Fox, Linda. I will populate all the names first. Hanfield, comma, and then German. Then I will say Nashit. So I'm populating all the names. So this one is Jamie, Ben, Savannah, Bitfield, Spalding, Gel. Then we have Tillman, Steve, then Wilson, Olga. Now I will go to the dependent for each one of them and I will type them. That makes easier to finish up one column at a time. And we're gonna go here and populate the hour worked, 80. And then we have 71, 75. We have 60 again. We have 42.25. We have 75.75. We have 80 again. We have 64.50, so the 0 will cut off, and then 68. Now the hourly pay rate, 33.10. Then we have 28.65. We have 18. 18. So if you did mistake, just go over and overwrite. Override the value. 25, 90, 21.95, 32.50, 41.02, and then 29.43. Now we're gonna populate the hire date. So the hire date for Linda Fox is 10, 17, 12, then 2/2, 13 for 2013, 1, 15, 16, 5, 18, 12, 5, 24, 13, 11, 11, 4, 29, 6, and then 9, 22, 17. All right. Now we're gonna go to the email. So as you see that when I will type the email address, it's gonna cut off the names because you see here Hanfield Germain is a big name. So when I will type it's gonna hide it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch it. You can go to the middle of the A and B because the A, I want to stretch the column A. So go here and with the two split arrows, double click it. As you see, the column A has been stretched. Now column B also, if you see the address is cutting off, I will go here in the middle of in the right of the B column and double click it. Now we're gonna type the first email. So now we have a good command in in Excel that is called flash fill. Flash fill is that you have to show Excel what you need, and Excel is gonna fill it with the sample that you have provided Excel to the rest of the cell. So the flash fill is an Excel feature that looks for patterns in the data and automatically fills or format the data in the remaining cell based on those sample or patterns, right? So let me show you how we're gonna use the flash fill. So first I'm gonna type the email in B4. We're gonna say BALTOR BALTOR at example.com. Right? So I will try to maximize so you're gonna see. Then the next one I will type lfox at example.com. Now, if you have like 1,000 employee and they work in the same organization, and instead of typing their email 100 times or 200 times for each of these 100 or 500 employees, we're gonna just type two of the employees' email and then the rest automatically Excel will flash fill it. Now let's see how. After I have typed these two, now you need to highlight B4 all the way to the other employee, which is Olanga, the last one, right? So I highlighted B4 all the way to B12. Now I'm gonna go to the data tab. Under the data tab, you will see here flash fill under the data tools, and then you will see flash fill. So the flash fill is here under the tools and this guy here. So it should be under the data tools, and then flash fill. All right. So I will click the flash fill. As you see, everything is done, and you don't need to type all the email of the other employees. Just you have to provide two sample, and then Excel will flash fill it to the rest of the cell. And as you see, I didn't type all these emails. It saves us time. All right. Next now is we have to add more row titles. So we have to go to A13, and then we have to say total. Then we're gonna say highest, lowest, and then average. Why I'm doing this? Because I'm gonna show you how to use the function to find out the total, the highest, the minimum, and the average using the predefined functions in Excel. All right. So next, after we did that, now we need to change the sheet name. As you see here, the sheet name is sheet 1. So we have to name it. To name the sheet 1, you have to double click it. As you see, it highlighted. Now override by salary space report, because sheet 1 is not a good name. You have to name your sheets. Now the next one is we need to have a color. So right click on the salary sheet and then tab color. And then we are looking for column 5 on row 1. So column 5. So column 5, like a dark, and this one, a blue SN1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the color we're looking at. Right? Now we need to save the file. So I'm gonna go to File, Save. I will browse the file, and then I will save it somewhere on the desktop. And then you can create a folder to manage your files. And I will say Excel lecture. And then double click the folder. Now click on the file name box and type sc underscore ex underscore 2 underscore caliber. And then it's gonna save under the folder Excel lecture, and then hit save. Now we have to add the formulas to find out the gross, federal tax, state tax percent, and the net. Now to do that, for the gross pay, the formula is gonna be the hour worked multiplied by the hourly pay rate, right? So to do that, one way you cannot just type equal. Always remember, to create the formula, you have to start with equal, right? Because I'm using the keyboard to create this formula, right? For the gross pay, federal tax, state tax, because I'm not gonna be using a function. right? I don't have any ready-made function to create a gross pay federal tax and find out the state tax and so on. So you have to start with equal, then the hours worked is D4, right? So you will click on D4, then multiply, then hourly pay rate is E4, right? Now press the enter key to execute the formula. So D4 multiplied by E4, that should give us the gross pay. So 26 and 13 cents. Now the federal tax. We will start with equal 0.26 multiply and then open a parenthesis. Now we need to take the gross pay. So you have to move your cursor or point to the cell. Instead of typing F4, you can do so like this, or you can just point to the cell. So one way you can type whatever the cell is involved, the gross pay is F4, so F4 I typed it, minus the dependent. So the dependent for Altor is 3, right? So the 3 is C4. So I can type C4 or just I can point to the cell C4, right? And then multiplied by 22.16. Close the parentheses. Now press the enter key. So the federal tax you have to come up with is 665. Now let's get to the state tax. Equal, always you have to start with the equal 0.055 multiply by the gross pay. So the gross pay for Altor is F4. Now press the enter key. 144. And then we need to find out the state tax, the tax percentage. So start with equal, open up a parenthesis, the federal point on G4. G4 is your federal tax. So point on it, point to the cells G4, and then plus the state tax, which is H4. Now close the parenthesis. Now divided by the gross pay. So that is F4, point to F4. Now everything look perfect. Now press the enter key. Then the last one will be the net pay. The net pay will be the equal, the gross pay minus, open a parenthesis, the federal tax plus point to the state tax, which is H4, close the parenthesis and push the enter key. Right, so at the end of the day, your net pay will be 1,816 and 18 cents. Right. So I show you the point mode. The point mode in Excel is when you point to the cell that you want to use for the formula. That's what I was showing you. I was using the point mode. All right. Next. The next is now we have to copy. We have to copy the formula using the fill handle. So once you have created, once you have got the gross pay, federal tax, state tax, tax percent, and net pay for the first employee, the rest will be very easy. So highlight, hold the shift, hold your left key of your mouse, and now you will see the fill handle, the small square box where my mouse is, not the thick plus sign, this one here, all the way down. Now hold the left key of your mouse and copy down. Move it down. So now everything is done, right? So Everything look perfect. Next is to determine the total using the auto sum, right? Now to determine using the auto sum to find us the total, right? So we're gonna go back to the total. We want to find the total for this one, right? So to do that, you will go back to the home tab. Then under the editing, you will see the Sigma sign here. Click the small down arrow and sum. So the range now, you want to sum something from D4 all the way to D12. So the formula says sum D4 all the way to D12. That's perfect. Push the enter key or press the enter key to execute the sum function. So I got the 616. Now I want to sum up these two guys here, these three guys. So highlight them. So obviously the gross pay, federal tax, and the state tax, right? And then I will go back and I will click the Sigma sign here under the editing group, under the home. The total is done. And then now I will go to find the net here. And then I will go back to the editing. Also, I can do it from the formulas. You see the function library here. I can use the auto sum here. And then I will press the enter key. Perfect. Now for the percentage, because we didn't copy the sum because it's a percentage. So what you need is you will select I-12 and then you will hold the fill handle, hold the left key and drag it down. Perfect. All right. You copied the formula from I-12 to I-13, which was the percentage, right? To determine the total tax percentage. Now we want to find out the maximum, the minimum, and the average. So these are a stats function, right? These the highest, the lowest, and the average, they fall under the stats functions. Now to find the highest, obviously we need to find the maximum, right? So from the dependent, which one here looks like is the highest value, right? So I have two ways, three to four ways to get the function done, the highest, which is the max function. So the book says you have to go now this time to the fx here, and then it says most recently, right? So what you could do, because the max is a stats, or you can just choose all. So that's the all function in Excel, right? Now look for type M for max, and now look for maximum, the max. You see the maximum here, click it. Now click OK. So it's gonna ask you, obviously you will get the dialog box for the maximum function. So now it's asking you, what's your range? Is it C4 all the way to C13? No, it's not C13, right? It should end up with C12 because C13 is empty, right? So what you're gonna do, you will override what you have and highlight the cell again. Highlight C4 all the way to C12, right? When you see the box here, C4, although that's perfect. If you want to type it, you can type it. Now click OK to execute it. Now 3, right? 3 is the max. Now we're gonna find out the lowest. So the lowest means that we want to use the function min for minimum, right? So we're gonna go down here Now, this time you could go back to the home, and then you see the editing group. You can go down you will point to the Sigma, and then you see I have the max here too. I have the min. So either you could use the fx to get the function, or you could get the min, right? So first I will click here because we want to find the minimum here for the dependent. And then I will go to the editing group, and then I will click here and then click min. Now it asks you, do you want to get the minimum from C14? No, that's wrong. It has to be from what? C4 all the way to C12. So you will highlight, you will click C3, hold the left key of your mouse and highlight. Now, once you see C4 all the way to C12, now press the enter key. So the minimum dependent value is 0. Now we want to find out the average, right? So the third way, I can use the keyboard to type, like the average function in Excel is used to calculate the average value of a collection of numbers. Right? So one way you can just go to the Sigma here, and then you can say average, right? The other way, you can go to the formulas tab, and then you can go here. The average is here, right? Or you can go to the stats here, and the average is the second, right? Or the fourth time you can go here, and then you will find stats, or you can go to all, and then look under the average. Here you go, average, right? So these are the 5 ways to do it. So the books, they ask us to do this way, like equal, and then you have to type AV. The moment you type the AV, you see the drop down has all the functions. So we are looking for the second one, average. Double click it. Now the argument, you see the argument, the black number 1. That means now I need to provide number 1 value. Which values are number 1 for the average, right? So we want to go and point to C4. Hold the left key of your mouse until you get to C12, and then close the parenthesis, and then push the enter key. So 1444. Now look, if you don't like this way, I can just go to home, go to the editing group, go to the Sigma sign, click average. So obviously the average I want to find is not from the range C14 to C15, is from C4 all the way to C12, and then press the enter key. So that's the most easiest way. Now we have to use the same for the rest. We have to copy now, right? So we have to copy this range here. So to copy the range, what you need to do is to copy the range of cells across the column to an adjacent range using the fill handle, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna select C 14, 15, and 16 and hold the fill handle, not this one, the small square. When you move your cursor over it, it's gonna be a tiny plus sign, and then drag it to where? Drag it to the right hand side. So everything is done, and then we don't want actually this one here because that's a percentage. It shouldn't be right here. So I deleted it. You have to select and delete. So the next thing we want to do, to verify the formula using the range finder. How to verify formulas using the range finder. Suppose that if someone asks you how you get the gross pay, right? Or why do we need to use the rangefinder? Rangefinder allow you to correct mistakes by making a quick changes to the cell referenced in the formula. So suppose if I did mistake, I can quickly use the rangefinder, and then I can fix my error in the formula. Like suppose I want to check this formula here. I will move my cursor over F4 and I will double click it. That's what we call range finder. It's gonna tell you what is involved in here. D4 multiplied by E4. So if it's wrong, then you cannot just override it, or you cannot just change the cell number. All right. If you want to get out of it, press the escape key. ESC, escape. All right. Now the next is to format the worksheet. To format the worksheet, because we want our worksheet to look nice, right? So the next step is about the formation. So the first thing is to change the workbook theme. To change the workbook theme. Actually, why do we need to change the theme is a company or department might choose a specific theme as their standard theme so that of their document have a special appearance, right? Similarly, you might want to have a theme that set your work apart from the work of others. So let's show you how to do it. Let's go to page layout, the tab that says page layout. And then we have to go to themes. As you see the themes here. And then we have to find the theme, which is in this case, I'm looking for gallery. So that's the gallery. As you move over the theme, you see the formation of your worksheet text changes according to the theme that you are selecting. Look. So obviously we need gallery. So your text font, your scripting has changed, right? Now we need to format the worksheet title, right? So let's select A1, A1, all the way to K1. And then we have to go back to the home. We have to go to the alignment group. And then we have to click merge and center. Now we have to select A2 all the way to K2. We have to go back to the home tab, alignment, and merge and center. Next, we have to select A1 and A2. Now that become one row and one column. We merge the cell to become one row and one column. Select now A1 and A2, all right? And then we have to go to the style group, which is in the right of the number group. Click on cell styles. And then we have to select title, because that will be our titles. As you see, it changed to title. Now select the A2, and we have to decrease the font size. To decrease the font size, you will go to font, the font group, and then this is to increase. This one is to decrease. So we have to decrease only one. So click it one time. So we make it to be 16. All right, to be a little bit different from the main title. All right. Next, we need to change the background color and apply a box border to the worksheet title and subtitle. So a background color and border can draw attention to the title of the worksheet. So to do that, we have to select A1 and A2. And then we have to go to the font. We have to use the bucket for background to fill color. And then we have to use this one. This color here, you have to click. The Intego Accent 5, lighter 80%, all right? Next, we need to add the border. So the border is under the font. Click here. And then we need to click outer border. So look for the outside border. Outside border. Click on it. Now we can click anywhere to see if that's done. As you see, I have a border outside border. Next, to apply the set style to the column headings and format the total rows. So now we need to select A3 all the way to K3. All right. And then we have to go to the style group. We have to go to the cell style. And then we have to choose heading 3 under the titles and headings, heading 3. Now we need to center it also. So go to the alignment and click center. As you see, the stuff move in the middle, in the center. Now don't worry about the column being, the text being cutting off. We will fix the column here. Now let's go to the total. Let's scroll down. Select A13 all the way to K13. And then go back to the styles group. Go to the styles. And then what we want to do is we have to choose the total style. You see the total style? All right. Now we have to select A14 all the way to A16. And then we have to go back to the font and B for boldface. We boldface the text in A4 all the way to A14 all the way to A16. Now we need to format the dates and center the data in a cell. Why we want to change the format of the dates to better suit your needs, right? So in addition, the numbers that are not used in a calculation often are centered instead of right aligned. So the number that the range or the cell that are not being used for calculation, we cannot center that. So first we have to take care of the dates. So K4 all the way to K12, right? And then we will go to the number group, and you see the small arrow here, the small arrow, that's the launcher. So I will click it. It's gonna open a dialog box for the format cells. So in this case, what we need is we need the format this one, 3/14/12. Now you have a bunch of formation you can change to your date. So once we have selected, I will click OK. Now your date change to this, right? Now the next thing is that we need to center. So select C4 all the way to C16. And then we will go to the alignment and center, right? So the numbers that are not used in calculation often are centered instead of right aligned, right? So once we're done with this, the next is to apply an accounting number format and comma style format using the ribbon. So this will give the worksheet a more professional look. So let's select E4, E4, all the way to H4, right? Then hold the control key, select J, right? And then let's select F13, F13, right? So before we do that, so we could do F13 all the way to H13, and then still hold the control key, select J13. Now, release your finger from the control key in your keyboard. Let's go to the number group, and then we will use the dollar sign here to make it the dollar sign, you see? Now, why we hold the control? Because we are selecting non-adjacent cells. Now we will select E5 all the way to H12, then hold the control key, select J5 all the way to J12, right? And then go back to the number group and then click the comma step, all right? Now let's select D4 all the way to D16, and then we have to assign a comma. Go to the number group, click the comma, all right? Perfect. Now the next, to apply a currency style format with a floating dollar sign using the format cell dialog box. Now this time we're gonna be using the floating dollar. So why do we need a floating dollar sign? The currency format places dollar sign quickly to the left of the number, which known as floating dollar sign, as they change position depending on the number of digits in the cell, and displaying zeros for each cell that has a value of 0. Now to do that, we need to select E4, E14 all the way to H14, then hold the control key, select J14 all the way to J16. Then you can also use this arrow here to get you the number format dialog box, or you could do right click on any of the selected cell and go to format cell. It's the same thing as this one here, the launcher. Then go to currency, right? Go to currency, and then we want to select the third option. If we have any negative number, they will look like this with the parentheses, and then click OK. As you see the difference between the previous one, the dollar sign that you have given from here, it has a space. You see the space, the gap, but this one does not. The floating dollar quickly, without having any space, is gonna put the dollar sign there, the dollar amount. But this one, if you use this one, this dollar sign here from the ribbon, is gonna have the space, all right? Now the next is to apply the percentage style format and use the increase decimal button. So now we have to do two things here. We have to use the percentage style format, and then we have to increase the decimal button, right? So to do that, we will have to select I4, all the way to I15, and then we have to go to the number group, and then we will click on percentage, and then we will give 2 decimal place. Now under the number group again, you see this 00 decrease if you don't want a decimal, increase if you want to have decimal. So we need 2 decimal places. So I have to press increase decimal button twice. 1, 2. Perfect. So that's how we changed it to percentage, and we have increased it to 2 decimal place using the number group, the number group under the home tab, and then we use first the percentage, and then we increased it twice. Now conditional formatting. Conditional formatting actually is a special formatting. The font color, the background fill, and other option that is applied if the cell value meet specific or specified condition. For example, if you wanna indicate those employees whose hour work is more than 70, we have to highlight them in a different color to indicate that these are the ones who make more than what their hour work is more than 70 or above. The rest will have the same color, right? So that's the what we call the conditional formatting in Excel. Very interesting. So to apply the conditional formatting, we will have to select the D4 all the way to D12, right? And then we will go to the Home tab. Under the Style group, you will see conditional formatting. Click it. And then we're gonna go to the New Rule. Click on New Rule. And then we will click the second rule, not the first one, the second. Cell only, format only cell that contain, right? And now here, under the edit the rule description, we are saying that the cell value, which is greater than 70, you want to indicate them by what color, if that satisfies the condition. So you will click on format button. It's going to open a format dialog box, right? So here we want the color of the text to be white, right? And then if you want a boldface, you can do so. You can hit boldface. Now I will go to the next tab, which is fill. And then we want to fill it with a purple color, like this. And then I will click OK. So the information will look like this, right? And then I will click OK. As you see now, those hour worked, which is greater than 70, the text changed to white, and the background is purple. So that's what we call conditional formatting, right? So then let's say, for example, if you have a student who is failing your class and they have the average less than 60, then I will indicate them in red. So the cell will be background will be red color, and the text will be white to indicate that these are the students who have the average less than 60, right? So then we can send them an email to indicate to the student that actually you have to work hard because right now your average is 60% or below 60, right? Below 60. So that's a very informative command. The conditional formatting is very nice, and we use it more oftenly in Excel. Now the next is to change the column width. So to change the column width, we have three ways to do so, right? One way is you will highlight A, then hold the shift key and C, and then you could double click it to stretch it, right? Or you could hold the left key of your mouse and drag it to the right like this. Okay? So all they will become one kind of sizes, right? Or you could also do going to the home, and then you will go to format, and then you could say column width, auto fit the column width. So that automate the column will be fitted. So if I click on this one, see, automatically the column has been fit. Now, what if you want the column F, G, and then I don't want I, so I want J, right? So what I will do, I will hold the control key and I will click on J, right? So F, G, and then hold the control key, click or select J, and then you can also hold the control key and select K, right? Right now, what we want, you could change the cell width as this, like this. So you kind go back to the format cell. You use auto fit column, or you could use column width, and then you can indicate what column size you want for all the one you've been selecting. So 11.13. Now you see this, the size is too small, right? When you see a hash or number sign here, that means the number is too big to be in this cell. So what you're gonna do, I can go here, auto fit the column. All right, so automatically the column has been the column has been fitted automatic, the best fit you can say. Now to change the row height, you can also increase or decrease the height of a row manually to improve the appearance of the worksheet. Now to do that, we will go to row number 3, this one here, right? And then you will see the split arrow below the 3 and above 4. And then you will hold the left key of your mouse. Now the size is 54, right? So we want to make it 39, right? So you cannot move it. Look, as I'm moving, the tooltip is telling me what the number is gonna be. 39. So that's what they want. Now let's point to heading row number 14. That's the guy here. Now we wanna make it the size to be 24 inches or 32 pixels. So if you move here and you clicked it, it's gonna tell you it's 18 now. So we need to be 24. As you move, it's gonna tell you what the value is, 24, right? So that's 20. Now, the next is to check the spelling, right? Excel includes the spelling checker you can use to check the worksheet for spelling errors. So to do that, I will go to A3, right? And then I will go to review. You will click on the first group under the review is proofing. And then I will click on the ABC spelling check. They said the author is wrong. So I want to keep it the same thing I have. So I will say ignore all. So Jamie is wrong. Page fill, I want to keep it the same, ignore. So there is no more. So click. And they said above also you want, so ignore. So spell check is complete. Right? Now the next thing is how to print. We have to have a header. Header is a text and grab that print at the top of each page. So we need to have a header. So whenever I would print your worksheet, it's gonna tell me any message that you put there, like the company name or the creator of this worksheet, and so on. So, or you kind of put it in the bottom of the paper. When you print out the worksheet, is gonna be in the bottom, right? So to do that, first we have to change the worksheet margin, headers, and orientation in a page layout. All right. So to do that, first we have to go to page layout, right? So that's the page layout. And then we have to change the view to page layout. You see here the page layout view. I have 3 of them in Excel in the bottom in the status bar. That's the page layout, right? Or you can go to view and then page layout. Click on it. And you see it automatically says headers. And if you want to go down to the footer, it's going to show you the footer, right? So for example, in the header here, before we do anything, we will go to the layout and then the margin, we will select normal, no, narrow. We will select the narrow, right? And then we're gonna type now in the middle of my header. That's the header. We will type Madeline space Samuels. Then press the enter key. Chief Financial Officer. Then click. Now, the next is we need to check the orientation. So go back to the page layout. Now, suppose if you want to go to the page header, footer, you will click this button here. So it's gonna switch you back to the footer like this. So that's the footer, all right? But we want to go back to the top. Now we're gonna go to the page layout, right? So before the page layout, because I'm inside the footer now, right? So all the command are not available. What you're gonna do is that we have to be in a normal, right? So or click anywhere in the cell other than the header. So as you see, I clicked here. Now the commands are visible. Before they were not available. Then go to the orientation and change it to landscape. All right. Now, after you did that, let's go to view and hit normal. All right. Normal. Now, after normal, the next step is to print a worksheet. So let's go to file, file, and print. Now everything look perfect. If some of your stuff is cutting off, like see, I don't see the hiring date. So what you need to do is go here where it says no scaling. Click the drop down and click fit the sheet on one page. Now I can see the hire date, everything look perfect, right? And then I will hit print, right here. and the number of copies you are looking at. Now, what if you want to print a selection of the worksheet? So let's go back. I want to only print A3 all the way to F16. F16 like this. So go to File, Print. Now you need to change. Now here it said the settings says print the active sheet, right? So you will go here and then you will say print selection. So that's what you selected, right? That's the selection that you did. Now we will go back, and if you want the whole thing to be selected, then say print the active sheet. So go back, click the arrow to go back, click anywhere to deselect what you highlighted. So next, now to display and printing the formulas version of the worksheet. What if you want to check your formula or to debug your formulas that you have used if there is any issue with the formula, right? If you felt like, oh, my formula is wrong, right? So what we need is first we need to flip this to a formula view. To do that, you will go to formulas, the formula tab. Then you will go to formula auditing and then show formula. As you see, all the formulas will be visible now. Right? And then you can debug your formula if you think there's a problem with your formula. Now you're gonna go to File, Print. In this case, as you see, I can just print the formulas instead of having the numbers. Right? I can print out and then I can fix what the problem is in my formula. So if you want to switch it back, click the back arrow, go to the formula tab. As you see under the formula auditing, the show formula is active now, is gray. Click on it to deselect. All right. And then you can also go to the page layout, page setup, click the launcher, and then automatically it says page will be printed in the orientation landscape and fit it to one page, right? You can also do that. And then you will click OK, and then you will be able to print it. I will cancel it. So that ends my lecture for today. And then if you want to magnifying, you want to zoom it down, move your cursor down, that's 100%. Or I can go to view. I can hit 100%. It's going to look like this, right? And then I will go back to the home. And that ends my lecture for creating formulas, function, and formatting a worksheet. I hope you have learned a lot from me in this video. So be sure to subscribe to my channel and be sure to like my channel so I can create more productive and more Excel videos so that you could master Excel. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.